What's up, y'all? This is Rose. I wanted to make a quick video on what's going on with the market, what happened today, and potentially what can happen tomorrow. Um, First of all, today I noticed that the financial and consumer defensive sectors were the weakest in the market overall. Whereas we had the leading sectors were energy and healthcare. So those have kind of been leading the market today overall in the week. Energy and tech have been leading, and consumer defensive communications have been weak. So it's kind of telling you what's going on where we're rotating into. We finished today with losses. We saw a big drop in the morning after we reached record highs yesterday on SPY and SPX. A lot of one of the biggest things that happened this morning was Walmart's earnings. There's still uncertainty on the impacts of tariffs on the U.S. economy and the Fed Reserve's path on interest rates, with signs of inflation starting to pick up. Um, like I said earlier, major averages ended red, off session lows. The Dow slid 451 points, the biggest percentage decline since early January. S&P did negative 0.04%, and Nasdaq a negative 0.5%. So Walmart, one of the reasons the Dow slid was because of Walmart. It was the sharpest decliner today after it fell more than 6% after its earnings, which it fell short of analyst expectations, which is something we've kind of been seeing with a lot of these bigger companies, as their earnings might not be too bad, but their estimates for the future are kind of like short of what analysts are expecting. So it's kind of like something to keep an eye on for the coming months. Also, one of the red folder events we had today was jobless claims, which rose over the past week. Kind of continue, basically the claims came in line, and then the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index weakened more than expected. The 10-year Treasury yield fell 3 basis points, and then the 2-year was steady. So back in equities, Palantir lost 5%, ending off its worst levels. The stock kind of was slammed down yesterday after a memo came from the defense secretary calling out an 8% cut on the defense budget. And as you may know, Palantir has a lot of government contracts, so that's one of the reasons why it fell. And then also the CEO sold off a lot of shares. So we'll have to see for a lot of people that trade Palantir, we'll have to see how that will affect it overall. Um, and then shares of cruise lines fell Thursday after Commerce Secretary suggested that a tax status that favors certain shipping companies would end under the Trump administration. So CCL, RCL, and CLH fell. Um, as you can see now with this new government, we have a lot of comments, news that are affecting different stocks in the overall market. So yeah, let's see how it's gonna keep going as we keep getting more news from Trump's government, and then how that affects the Fed rate. So I feel like the market right now is kind of waiting on how all of that is going on. As we come down to futures, um, SPY and SPX have hit all-time highs, but ES futures hasn't yet, and that's something I'm keeping an eye on. Today, honestly, I wasn't too sure what we would do before this drop overall. Honestly, I thought we were, and I'm just giving you what my thoughts were and what went wrong, what didn't. I thought we were gonna we had this really nice OTE right here, and we kept kind of wicking off it. If I let me do my replay. So if I'm looking at the hourly, I'm like, we're looking good here. We kept wicking off of it, and so I thought, okay, maybe we're gonna like from here go, maybe up, come back down, and then boom, and then we have all-time highs if we're super bullish. So that was my thesis, but definitely that didn't play out. And what happened, or what you can do in the future if you ever have a thesis and you're like, I'm thinking, because let's say before the market opened, we were inside day, and I'm like, hey, we're probably gonna go two up on the day, because we were kind of like right in the middle, so I wasn't too sure. So you can say like, I'm thinking my thesis is we're going up. That's what I thought, and so if ever you get stuck in that situation where you have a bias towards a side, what really invalidated my bias was once we closed below this OTE, it was telling me it's invalidated. This is not going to work out. And so, you know, if you drop down here, when the market opened, let's see, still kind of choppy, and then boom, once we dropped below that OTE that I had drawn earlier, then yeah, it told me, especially because this hourly FEG, let me go back to the hourly. We had been testing that here, and we had never closed below it. So I'm like, okay, it just strongly displays below this, then I'm mostly gonna be, my bias is now bearish. What's next? So basically, yesterday we took out external liquidity, which was the weekly high, which is so yesterday we took out this actually monthly high, my bad, that external liquidity. And even before that, we took the weekly high. So now it's telling me, all right, this bad boy wants to go into internal liquidity. So what we had there, I had drawn out was a daily um, fair value gap, and then previously too, we had a change of character in the 4 hour. So most likely, I'm like, okay, so then now that we went this, we came back, that is most likely gonna go down to this fair value gap, which is what it did. Um, and so what I noticed is that we tapped the 50% of that, and then I took a quick scalp on SPX. I got up to 20%, and I closed it because I noticed we wick kind of strong. But I wish I would have taken puts at at that change of character level, which is this white line. So let me, oops, crap. Boop, boop, boop. So we came back down, or we went up, and then on that 15-minute, you could have scalped a put if, as you saw that it couldn't stay above that line, and it started coming down, testing again that daily fair value gap. And remember, the bigger the time frame, the stronger it is. And then after that, it was honestly all chopped. I got chopped up a few times, and so I called it quits. To be honest, I did try one trade at the towards the end of the day. I tried a trade around here again when it tapped the line. Wait, where was it? But as you can see, like this, I actually tried a trade right here. Actually, I remember now. At 12:30 when it tapped the line again, and I scalped. I got a quick 50% and got out. But after that, I called it quits, and it could have been a great opportunity to get calls because as you see here again, it tested again that 50% of that fair value gap. And once it displays here, you could have given a shot at calls here. Um, but to be honest, this also could have been a great day after this big flush to just chill and not do anything, especially because it's OPEX, meaning it's options expiry. So honestly, you can just take it easy, even tomorrow. But overall, my thesis for tomorrow, if you look at the 690 minute, it's just kind of looking like we had some accumulation here, like in this area. This could possibly be the manipulation, and maybe this could maybe like we can get a little choppy here and then displace and maybe try to get all-time highs. Um, Overall, I want to see how we do overnight, but if we continue to close above this change of character, above this fair value gap, then maybe we can continue to push up. Ideally, I would like for us to come down here, fill this, and then push, but who knows? And also, if we really do stay, if the Bears are really taking control, we can easily, if you zoom out, remember you always have to zoom out, we can easily come and continue to drop further and come back down here and then do something like this and then like that, something like that, and then maybe all-time highs eventually. So something like that could potentially happen as well. So tomorrow could be a day like either to sit out or you can just wait for the market to develop and maybe try to scalp here and there if you're doing SPX or SPY. Like I said early, and we do have this, if we're super, super bearish, we have this fair value gap all the way down here as well. As you can see, we're kind of still stuck in this area between, kind of like we've been stuck for the past few months between like 6,000, I would say, to like 6160. Like I said, we still have all-time highs. We have this big Brownian formation over here if we finally break out. So you have to look for what catalysts, what earnings, any news, tape bombs from, the administration. So kind of keep an eye on all that. If we're really bullish tomorrow, then keep looking at the hourly, 4 hour. Look at the 4 hour. We've been choppy here. So I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm hoping we get some good movement tomorrow in either direction. Maybe we do finally get a trend day after kind of being in this area for a whole week. And so, yep, so that's my analysis on NQ. On SPY, like I said earlier, this reached all-time highs. And look at that beautiful Brownian formation. Tap Tapped it here and we came down. So we'll see if tomorrow, what'll happen. Keep an eye on that. From we have this volume imbalance here. Let's see. On the daily, this full fair value gap over here. The weekly, is still kind of like in a doji almost. It could end in a doji. It could be undecided. We did have a smaller week. We have this hourly gap to fill here if, you know, keep an eye on that. So kind of mark your levels and see what the market's, what it's trying to do. So that's kind of like what I have for SPY. For VIX, I'm keeping an eye on this gap fill if we get super bullish, but then also keeping an eye on this area right here. So kind of like this area, we're kind of like in the almost in the middle of that area. So keep an eye on VIX as well. When it comes to the sectors, XOP had a good day. XOK hammering, XLI kind of too. XLF had a bad day today, and it kind of, it's kind of been trading in this trend line over here, right here, or even like, yeah, it's been, we'll see what happens with it, but it's kind of been here. Um, XLE's looking pretty good. Outside day. XLC is, like if you look at this area right here, this fair value gap, it's been closing above it. So maybe it wants to make another run for it. XLB's kind of just been chilling. It's kind of been consolidating in this area. And even in, it's kind of like at OTE for the downside. If it wants more downside, we'll see. Keep an eye on that. XOV kind of rising. And XLY is kind of still chilling as well. XLRE coming up. It's like you can notice the pattern. XLRE, XLE, XOV kind of move more together. XOU as well. So it's kind of like what I'm looking for tomorrow. Just like I said, I'll see how the overnight futures do to see if I can, what kind of bias I start getting. And Q looks kind of similar to ES. I don't trade it, so I haven't analyzed it as much, but overall, we kind of have to see how if we get any SMT divergence. So I'll look in the morning to see how it's looking as well. And when it comes to data, tomorrow we have flash PMI, so keep an eye on that. It's at 9:45 EST, so 15 minutes into market open. If you want to go ahead and wait before you enter a trade, if you're doing options, especially if you're doing zero DTE, you can see how the market reacts to it. Um, you know, Unless you want to really risk it or see a good pattern and want to risk it before the data comes out. Oops. Let's see. Next week, we have consumer confidence. Monday, we have no data. Maybe we'll be choppy. We have consumer confidence, GDP, PCE on Friday. So that's be careful with that as well. Kind of things to keep an eye on. Let's see what else. For earnings, we don't really have much tomorrow, so nothing really to worry about earnings wise. We'll see. I haven't seen the list yet for next week, so we'll keep an eye on that. Um, Kind of keep an eye on the news as well, see what's going on. But just wanted to give this little update and just kind of show you what I'm looking at as I'm shutting down my computer for the day or whatever, and in the morning what I'm going to do tomorrow is kind of look at the news, come back to the chart and see how the market developed overnight, and then see if I can get a more like a clear picture of where we might be headed to. So hope you find this video helpful, and thanks for listening.